I'm Danny, and this is the Scream Princess podcast.
I'm Danny, and I'm back with another exciting episode of the Scream Princess podcast. I'm here today with my friend Simon Ballard, and I don't really know how to introduce you. I'm going to go with kind of classic horror expert, but you are also a writer, an interview. You do lots and lots of different things. So you
Mhm.
wear many hats, Simon.
Indeed, yeah. I guess writer, that's how it all started for me, really. Um, well, actually, how it started, to sort of sound a bit personal, was when I gave up drinking in 2020.
It's amazing how many good things come out of that for people.
Indeed, yeah. So I can help inspire others. That would be brilliant. But yeah, I just decided January the 1st, 2020, told all my friends, look, I'm an alcoholic and I want to do something about it. So
Right.
essentially writing was my kind of distraction activity, if you
Hmm.
like. I always say to people, if you're trying to give up something, having any kind of distraction, whether it's
Mm.
writing, sketching, walking, doing jigsaw puzzles, anything that takes your mind and your hand away from doing that, I think it does
Yeah.
help.
Yeah,
So I did
absolutely.
that.
Keeping yourself busy.
Sorry.
Keeping yourself busy.
That's it. Yeah, I think the worst thing to do would be just to go on things like Facebook and just sort of allow your mind to just sort of melt
Yeah.
and sort of grow bored, and
Yeah.
then the addiction kicks in more. So yeah, writing was my distraction, and mostly I was just doing it for fun,
Mm.
especially because obviously about 3 months into me trying to give up drinking, the pandemic hit.
Which is the worst time for someone to give up drinking because I think everybody else started drinking in the pandemic.
Yeah, so I went the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So then I put on massive amounts of weight because I then started nibbling scampi flavored fries like they were going out of
I used to
fashion.
love them. I don't think they're vegan, so I don't think I can have them. I
I
can have the
sadly,
scampi and lemon knickknacks. I
that's
can
not
have
too
those.
bad.
No, but you know the scampi fries, they were great.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
them.
quite so. And then I happened to notice that Eric McNaughton,
Mm.
who's publisher of We Belong Dead magazine,
Yeah.
which I regularly contribute to, and its spin-off books, he
Mm.
was just the editor then, and he put out a plea on Facebook saying, "I'm trying to put this new book together, Spotlight on Horror, but a number of people have dropped out. So is there anybody out there who could cover this list of films?" And I kind of thought, could I actually do that? I've
Mm.
never written an article in my life. But I looked down this list and there were two Hammer films. Hammer
Wow.
films, they're my main passion.
Mm.
And I kind of thought, well, I don't think you need any kind of degree to just basically write how much you love these. It's just
No.
thing, really. So I said, I'll take Brides of Dracula and Twins of Evil, if that's all right. And really, it's just about, I thought, I mean, I've been watching Hammer since I was about 12, so it was quite
Mm.
easy to sort of know a few facts and figures. But
Mm.
mainly, it's I didn't want it to read like a Wikipedia page. I want it to sort of be a bit informal, to say, I love that bit where one of the twins has her head cut off. How artistically directed that.
I love that bit.
I think most people do. So sent them along, and they made the book, and I was quite chuffed about that. Then I said to Eric, could I write for the magazine? And he said, it was so casually. He said, well, what would you like to write about? And at that point, I have to admit that despite being such a huge Hammer fan, my other horror collection was about that wide.
Right.
I thought, oh, I don't really know that much about horror other than Hammer,
Mm.
because I think most of
Well,
it was,
sometimes it's good to be a specialist in one area, you know.
this is true, absolutely. And I think out of, I don't know how many Hammer films there are, 200, 250 or something,
Mm.
they made 50 horrors. So through the years,
Mm.
that kind of kept me occupied, really.
Hmm.
But also, when you're drinking heavily, I think what you tend to do is you stick to familiar things. It doesn't tax the mind so much.
Right.
And also, you don't want to watch anything that has anything to do with reality, because
Mm.
somehow reality reminds you of the predicament you're in. So when
Mm.
you've got these period set horrors set in some fabled fairyland, sort of Middle European province, it's
Mm.
an easy escape. So I thought I need to have a bit of a re-education. So anyway, I said to Eric, well, what about Jekyll and Hyde,
Mhm.
the Michael Caine Jekyll and Hyde, because I knew about that and it didn't seem to have much of an online presence.
Mm.
So wrote that, sent it off, and then I thought, right, horror education begins now. And I went to HMV when we had one in Oxford,
How's it
and just
gone?
it's gone again. That's
Oh,
twice now.
oh.
It's a shame because I love going into places like HMV and FOP because 10 to 1, if anyone says, do you need any help? And I'd say, well, what's a good horror film would you recommend? And they seem to light up then. And it's just so much better having someone to talk to rather than having Amazon saying, well, you bought this. You probably would like to buy this.
Yes.
And what's annoying about it? It's annoying for two reasons. One, it's very impersonal. And two, they always get it bloody right. So, yes, I would like that. Thank you very much. Click buy reluctantly.
Hmm.
So I started to buy all the things that I'd previously denounced without even bothering to watch them, like the Chucky films, which I now absolutely adore. In fact, lots of 80s American horror, I'd always said in a sniffy way, well, it's just all about witticisms and special effects and prosthetics, which it is, and that's what's so brilliant about them. I suddenly realised Nightmare on Elm Street, for example, I can see
Yeah.
represented here.
Yeah. And I did clock those just a moment ago.
So that was another that I'd previously ridiculed and watched them and realised, oh, these are just brilliant. All the Friday the 13th films and 90s horror, which not many people tend to talk about.
Well,
They'll
I love
say,
that's my era. So,
brilliant.
that's when I was a teen and I was watching horror. So for me, 90s is my favorite horror era.
It's good because I'm that's pleased about that because people always say there wasn't really much horror in the 90s, was there? There
There
was. There
was
was
loads. It was
I mean,
it
I've
was
got
a
a friend.
very different style. It was a very glossy horror, a high budget glossy horror.
Yeah. Well, it's a guy called John Kenneth Muir, and he wrote a book, Horror Films of the 90s. And look how
Oh,
thick it is.
wow. Yes.
This is about nearly 700 pages
I
that
wonder
say,
how many of them I've seen and which ones I need to see.
well, he kind of sort of slightly blurs the lines a little bit. So a lot of thrillers are included.
Oh, okay.
But I think what happened with 90s horror is it sort of got a bit snobby-ish
Well, I
because,
think it was, I mean, with Scream and then Urban Legend, Final Destination, they had big budgets, whereas horror was, previously made on much smaller budgets. They
mm,
somehow, managed to get these huge budgets and then it really took off. But then it was like that was very different to the other stuff being made. So it was like your sort of high budget and then your, traditional horror
that's
budget.
true, yeah, because you'll find that in almost inevitably with every decade and every kind of horror movement, there'll
Mm.
always be those who'll jump on the bandwagon. So you mentioned urban gothic, which I absolutely urban
Urban
legends,
Legend.
which I
Yeah.
love. But then in that
Yes.
same year, there was a really low budget film called Campfire Tales.
Right. I haven't seen that one.
You can tell it's low budget because you've got these 14s in a car and sort of feels slightly I don't know, I know what you did last summer.
Right.
But a car comes in the opposite direction and they swerve to avoid it and crash. Well, you
Mm.
don't see the crash. It suddenly cuts to these 14s
Because they couldn't afford
climbing
to
up.
do that.
I know they climb up a hill and they go, "Oh, that crash was horrible, wasn't it?" So
Oh,
they
wow.
basically talk about this crash that you can't see because
Yeah.
you can't afford it.
Do you know what though? I mean, in a way, I love that people are making films or people that, it's like there's no way we can afford to do that, but we want to make the movie and they'll work
Mm,
around it. So I kind, I mean, I've made a really low budget film where I've had to not show a werewolf because I mean, I did have one, but the makeup artist was really late on the day that we needed them. The werewolf wasn't as good as, as I was thinking it was going to be. And I was like, well, we're going to have to do most of this just off. So, and it was like, a very, very, very low budget film. So I can understand it. I've done it, but I'm a fan of the high budget stuff when I'm watching.
but in a way, for you, that would work because people could look at that film and then say, "Well, obviously that's a homage to the Val Lewton films like
Yes,
Cat People." You
that's
know,
what I was going for.
there you go. Oh,
Totally
the
what I was
power of
going for.
suggestion because it gets
Yeah,
people's minds working. So
yeah,
that can, yeah, definitely be
yeah,
a huge benefit.
yeah. But I mean, I think as well with a lot of 90s horror, there was a lot of humor in the script. They mixed
Mm,
horror with like a lot of jokes. And actually, I went last night to see Nightmare on Elm Street at the cinema.
ah,
It was like a re-release, obviously, for spooky season. And I have seen it once before, and I watched it probably only, 10 years ago or something. So for me, I didn't watch it in the 80s. I watched it like in the noughties somewhere, and it was quite a dated film, and it's not one of my favorites. And I watched it once, and my boyfriend wanted to go and watch it, so I was like, "Oh, okay," because he really likes it. And I enjoyed it on the cinema screen, but do you know what's funny? Because I know they always say about Scream has all these like little homages to, different old horror films. And I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God, that's like the scene from Scream. And he's like, well, you watched them the wrong way around, haven't you? So for me, I love Scream. And I was like, the bedroom when he comes to the bedroom window.
Yeah,
And he was like, well, that's why it's in Scream. And I'm like, oh, it's making a lot more sense now. But
that is true. Yeah, and yeah. So I think it was a couple of years after Scream that they'd made Halloween H2O, and you
yes,
could tell they thought, right, we're post Scream. We've got to
yeah.
acknowledge that approach. We can't be too po-faced because people will then laugh for the wrong reason. So
Yeah.
it's almost as if those kind of wry references had to be put in.
And I think by the time they've made Halloween H2O, it's a long way from the 70s. Whereas I think for me, Halloween again, and it made it into my 31 Days of Spooky Season list because I think it's a film that you should watch around Halloween. But again, it's
Mm,
not, and you credit it as being like, the first of the slashers that kind of created the genre, which is a genre I love, but I don't love it necessarily as a film. I think it's quite slow. I know you'll probably disagree, but not a lot happens. It's not very scary. Whereas Scream's got the jump scares a bit more.
mm.
I don't know, like for me, I would watch Scream over Halloween. And I know they were made in very different eras, but I think by the time it got to the 90s, if someone had to come along and made a new Halloween film that was very similar to the original, they wouldn't have been enough. People in the
No,
90s were going
certainly
to
not.
want
No.
more. So they had to go down that route and kind of follow the recipe a little bit of,
Yeah, it's a
you
good
know.
point. It's kind of like with the Psycho sequels in the 80s, which I
Mm,
love. But whereas a lot of what Hitchcock did was suggestion, like
yeah.
the famous thing about there's something like 77 individual shots in
Mm,
that shower scene.
hmm.
And by the trick of them being incredibly quick, someone will always say, I saw the knife go in, but you never
Um,
do.
do you
But
know,
of
I
course,
would
with Psycho,
love shooting that scene in a nice hot, like once I'm in the shower and it's hot, I don't want to go out of the shower because I hate that feeling of getting out of the shower and then it's cold, like
yeah.
stepping into a cold bathroom. So if I had like hot water, I would easily do like a 70 scene shoot
Mm.
in the shower. Stay there all day until I'm wrinkly.
Yes, I can see the logic there.
Yeah.
So, of course, the 80s ones, then suddenly they kind of thought, well, we kind of, with Psycho, was almost, without meaning to be, a proto slasher film.
Mm,
But then with Psycho 2, which was made in what, 1983?
who
It
knows?
was following in the footsteps of the slasher trend that was coming off the back of
Right.
Halloween and more pertinently Friday the 13th. So in a way, it had to ape the films that the films had copied in the first place. So it had to increase the gore to
Yeah.
compete with those films.
Yeah. I mean, any film, like if you're watching like The Exorcist, the first time I watched The Exorcist, I laughed because it was funny. But if I'd watched that, in the 70s where people weren't so desensitized because they hadn't seen stuff that's obviously way scarier, it would have been
No.
terrifying. But then by the time I watched it, I've seen, way worse. And I think that's the thing. And I think every generation is having to push the boundaries even further because things
Mm,
aren't shocking people and now as well with the internet, people can see so much.
yeah.
It's not a case of them watching a few films that they've rented from Blockbuster or, going to the cinema. They've got like constant streaming and everything's accessible. So they're going to watch stuff that, is completely pushing it. And I think
Mm.
filmmakers now have got to try and find a way of keeping an audience interested. If I'm watching a horror film, I want to be scared. And that's why I do personally like a jump scare. I don't know, how do you feel about jump scares?
I like jump scares if there's a kind of a narrative reason for it, not
Yeah.
just to, I don't know, slam a door really loudly or fling a cat at someone. I
Yeah,
think
if
there's
it's
got
a
to be a
good
certain
one, yeah,
problem.
yeah, no, a jump scare done well, and I always jump, even though I know it's coming. They'll still make me jump, but I think at least if they've got that, it's made me jump. I've had a little bit of a fright
Yeah.
because it's harder to scare me.
I think
Supernatural films I find scary, even though I don't necessarily
funny enough, I was about to raise
believe
that
in ghosts.
particular subgenre because for me, the opposite makes me sort of feel unsettled, which is that kind of slow burn where nothing happens, but
Mm,
there's the expectation. Like the first time I saw the
yeah.
Blair Witch Project in the cinema,
Mm. That bit in the
and
corner where,
yeah,
yeah,
but all throughout the film, like there's this thing about the creepiest thing in horror that you could produce is a door slowly creaking open
mm,
because you've got that jeopardy, you've got that suspense. It almost
yeah,
doesn't matter what's behind the door; it's just that creaking build up. And
yeah,
watching the Blair Witch Project, it was kind of like almost an hour and a half of that door opening
yeah,
because just little things like they come out of their tent in the morning. There's a small pile of rocks outside, and that in it itself is nothing, but it's
yeah.
enough to make you think, well, what's going to happen after that? So
Yeah,
you're
because if
constantly sort
you
of,
were in a tent and there was, or like in this hut and there was a small pile of rocks outside, you would be thinking, well, who's been here in the night
yeah.
and who's been creeping around while I've been sleeping?
So by the time, as you say, you see, I can't remember the characters. Is it Josh who's in the corner?
Couldn't tell you. It's a
I think
long
it's
time ago that I
yeah,
last watched it.
it's either Josh or Michael, but I think it's Josh. I might be wrong. Anyway, by the time you get to that point, right at the end, your heart rate is going so much because
Mm,
you've had these feelings of expectation that just that alone is enough. Well, it got me going, and
mm.
I saw that. So when did that come out? I would have been 20, and no, I didn't put the light out at night. But I think because I had echoes. I was 13 and watched Ghost Watch when it first went out.
All right. So I haven't seen it and I feel like I need to find it and watch it.
I think you should. Yeah, it's interesting just to
Mm,
remember that this was the a TV show that went out. It didn't mean to hoodwink people. It wasn't meant to be a
right.
hoax. If anything, I think that the makers, like writer Stephen Volk and the producer, the director Leslie Manning, they
Mm,
overestimated people's intelligence. I think
right.
they assumed that people would understand that this supposed live show was using the language of a live broadcast to tell a
Right.
ghost story.
Mm,
Essentially, what it was doing was what's scary: a big gothic mansion in the middle of nowhere that's haunted, or a semi-detached house in North London.
mm.
So it was, and also you have Michael Parkinson presenting, so that gives it that extra bit of
Yeah. And was
verisimilitude.
it Sarah Green? Because I remember her
Sarah
from Live
Green,
and
yeah,
Kicking.
was Albinona from going live at
Oh,
that
was it
point.
going live? She was before Live and Kicking.
I think it
Was
yeah.
it her and Philip Schofield?
Her and Philip Schofield, as I remember.
Oh, there we go.
And she had to appear on television the next day to say, I didn't die, honest. See, I'm still alive. I'd say people just assumed it was real because it looked real, like the Blair
Yeah.
Witch looked real. You
Yeah.
knew it was a film, obviously, but when it's done with camcorders, your
Mm,
brain, it's kind of, it's like it deals with that information and just says
mm,
camcorder footage or live broadcast must be real. So then you
mm.
feel that more, and same with the paranormal activity films. You feel
Yeah.
the horror more because it feels like this is something that could happen and could actually be happening as you're watching.
Yeah. I mean, I'm funny because I don't like I want ghosts to be real. I love the idea of ghosts and
Mm,
I love going to old castles and like knowing the ghost stories and all the haunted stuff. But I'm one of these like seeing is believing and so far nothing's really proven to me that ghosts are real. So, but with that in mind, supernatural movies I find can be quite frightening. So
yeah,
you think I wouldn't because I don't, you know, but you know, one that always gets me is the autopsy of Jane Doe. That's one of my favorites, and that's have you seen it?
I've not seen that one.
Oh,
No.
it's so good. It's so creepy. It's seriously creepy.
Okay.
That's your homework.
Well, there
I'm
we go.
setting
Then I'll
homework. You
make
come
a
on
note
my
of that.
podcast, I set homework. No, you definitely need to watch it. It's so good, especially this month. In fact, I don't know if I put that on my spooky season watch list. I should have if I didn't.
Hmm.
Very good movie. I must have put it on there. I must, yeah, no, I did. I did. It's on there.
Okay.
Definitely on there.
I think the
Definitely.
thing I've been watching at the moment, I've just started watching the Fall of the House of Usher TV series on Netflix.
I think I started it and couldn't get into it, but I was probably not giving it full attention.
It's
So,
interesting. It's a thing that Stephen Volk said that characters in horror don't necessarily have to be likable. And
mm,
the characters in this who come to sticky ends, they're frankly horrific people,
mm.
narcissistic and privileged, entitled.
But I kind of
And
like characters like that
yeah,
in stuff.
I think if anything, if you have characters who are too virtuous and too perfect, like
Yeah. I
the
want them to
Warrens,
die. Like, you're
yeah,
annoying. Die.
the Warrens in the Conjuring films are so sanctimonious to me. So
Oh, I might watch it then.
yeah, so
Mm,
you kind of you almost, despite the characters, or maybe even because of them, you get into the drama of it. Because let's face it, narcissism and entitlement, these are traits that more people have than would be prepared to admit.
hmm.
You know, virtuous 100% perfect characters not only are unrealistic, they're thoroughly dull as well.
Yes. Yes. That's true. There's a cat in here and I feel like he wants to do trouble. So I'd just been out to see a client before I came back, and that's why I was like, I'm just rushing around because there was an accident, so I had to detour the road. But I was just
Dear.
telling her the other day I came home and the postman came and I went to collect a parcel from him. He said, "Have you got a dog?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Did you have a dog here the other day?" And I'm like, "No." And I've got cats. And he's like, "Oh, well, one of them got me." So I was like, "It got you?" And he was like, "Yeah." And he had like this cut on his hand. He was obviously stuffed his hand through my letterbox and the cat's gone for him.
Oh
But I've
no.
just come home now and a parcel's been put through the letterbox and the cat, I mean, the item of clothing inside is fine, but the cat has absolutely annihilated the plastic packaging. It's full of little teeth holes. So I
Oh
feel like
no.
he's in that kind of naughty mood now that, so he just
Sounds
came
like it.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just came in and he wanted to do something bad, but he's gone away again. So
It's obviously what
if,
Halloween season does to
yeah,
cats.
if he like launches himself at me or anything, I don't know. He's generally, I mean, he's friendly. No, maybe not to the postman. I was trying to apologize to the postman, but at the same time, trying not to laugh because I was like, you just,
Yeah.
I mean, they're very small for a panther, you know.
Well, maybe there's just a protective instinct. The cat just thinks it's an intruder. I'm having him.
I think he probably thought, oh, there's a bag. It must have food in it. Let me
Well,
try and
true.
get in. Yeah, he's
That's
been
probably the
very,
more likely explanation.
probably
Yeah.
very, yeah, probably. So you write for We Belong Dead. You also write for Dark Side, which is, I mean, we met not at Dark Side. We at Dark Fest. We met actually at the Festival of Fantastic Films.
Indeed.
Which is
Yes.
it next weekend? Are you going this year?
Tomorrow, in fact.
Tomorrow. Are you off to there
Yeah.
tomorrow? Exciting. I saw like I've seen posts about it. So we actually met there at the Festival of Fantastic Films, which was a wonderful weekend.
Mm.
And we ended up in a drag club
We
with
did. Yeah. We hit Canal Street. You did
yeah.
karaoke, which I've still got the video of.
Oh yes. Yeah, we won't be adding that to the podcast. Yeah, we did. We had a great time. It was like an action-packed weekend. So the daytimes were kind of obviously you're watching films. Me and Judy were like sort of sat in the foyer bit. Um, but yeah, the nights we went out. We had a good
It
time.
was
And I don't
fun.
really go out. So for me to
No,
like
that's
go,
obviously with me not drinking. That was quite unusual for me, but it was quite
yeah.
exciting. I think being Halloween, and I got a photo with there's a drag queen who was dressed entirely in eyeballs.
Oh yeah, I have got one with the one that was dressed as Dorothy because I love the Wicked
That's
Witch.
right. Yeah, I've
Do
got a
you know what's
couple of
funny
them.
as well though? We'd come from a festival where obviously I work in horror, and it's not all horror people, but a lot of people there are big lovers of horror. We didn't really think about it being the closest weekend to Halloween. So obviously
Mm,
Halloween must have been a weekday. So we were all just
because that
out
kind of
in
thing is every
normal.
day for us.
Well, yeah, exactly. So we're out in normal clothes and everybody else is in full Halloween costume. And it's like we managed to look out of place, even though
We're the ones who
horror would
stuck out.
usually
Yeah.
be, I look out of place,
But
the
I must
rest of the
admit, I was
people.
showing off a bit. I was saying, "You see her over there," pointing to you. I said, "It's an actual horror actress over there." I was kind of, I didn't have a costume, but at least I had a horror actress, which
Yeah.
that's not too bad a compensation.
Yeah, I'm a real horror person, I promise.
There you go.
I'm really horrifying. I've been a baddie. Sometimes. And I wore this today, like obviously I was rushing around again, but I thought, oh, because classic horror, I thought I usually I'd try and put on a dress or something, but I
Lovely.
didn't manage to do my eyelashes. I was going to put lashes on.
Oh,
And you've put me to shame because you were like, I've just done my nails, and I'm like, oh
yeah, we
shit.
go. Yeah,
Mine unchipped and need
I'm
doing.
so sorry.
I filmed a video a couple of days ago for my holistic stuff. So it's like how I balance myself with the Zen stuff. So I filmed a video of my chimes and instruments, and I was just like, "Oh, but my nails needed painting." And I'm a bit horrified with myself for not having done them.
Dear oh dear, letting yourself down. What to do?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah, that was good fun. That was. And I love the Festival of Fantastic Films. Just this wonderful laid back attitude. You're all sort of either sat in a bar or lounging on sofas.
yeah,
You wave to people like yourself and Judy Matheson. Last year it was Jeff Lieberman
that's
who made
it.
things like Just Before Dawn. Going, all right, Jeff, how's your cold? Oh, not too bad.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty good in the day. Like, I didn't have drinks in the day until the evening, but I know there were people there exhibiting who, like, they were
Yeah,
like 11 o'clock, pints of beer. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how people do that and then still are okay in the evening. I'm like, I mean, once I start, I'm pretty quick. So I'm like, can't drink all day.
yeah, that was good stamina. That was. I don't know,
Yeah.
something to be impressed by or not.
What are you doing? There you go. I told you he's looking for trouble.
Bless her.
Are you
What's her
looking for
name?
trouble?
What's your cat's name?
This is Midnight.
Midnight.
Yeah,
Perfect.
this is Midnight. He's the affectionate one. He's the boy and he's very lovely. And
Oh,
Magic is she's very beautiful, very elegant, but she doesn't care about me. She won't come and see me until she wants feeding. And then she's
yeah.
like, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me. And she's like constant. But yeah, he's the friendly one.
Oh
So have you got pets?
no, I did have a cat.
Yeah.
Died when I was about 20, but we had her when I was little. So it was a rescue cat. So she was about 20 old when she passed away, which was
Oh, well, that's a good
not a
age
bad
for a
age for a
cat.
cat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good age for a cat.
It was really nice because I always used to, when I was younger, like sketching, but rather than do it at a desk, I always like to, for some reason, do it on the floor, crouched over. That for some reason was comfortable. But so many
Okay.
times I'd be finishing a sketch, and it was always just as it was near the end that my cat decided that was the time to come in from outside with muddy footprints. And
Oh yeah.
so,
And
of course, at the
starting your
time it was
work
quite
for you.
annoying. It's like personalized. At the time it was annoying, but now you look back on it and you think, oh, well, there we go. There's my cat's
Yeah,
prints immortalized. How lovely.
that's cute. It's like when people do the concrete on their paving and you always find the little footprints. He's getting in a bag now.
She did that as well. And it's like kind of a cat version of Hollywood Boulevard for a moment out there.
So what you can't see in here. So this is like the podcast side. So usually I sit over there, sometimes I sit here. And then, but the other side's like the photo studio. So it's where I do my shoots and there's a green screen. But at the moment, I've just gone through all of my wardrobe and I'm like, I've got so many clothes I don't wear. I had bags and bags of stuff in the top of the wardrobe.
Hmm.
And I was like, I'm just going to put it all on Vinted. So I've got it all down and it's all in huge piles. So it was an absolute bomb site in the rest of this room. And the cat's just gone and found a bag of clothes and he's just got inside.
Inevitably.
And he's just got his head sticking out. He's proud of himself. He's proud of
Oh,
himself.
that's so
But
sweet.
yeah, so we met at the Festival of Fantastic Films. And then you interviewed me for Dark Side magazine, which was very
Yeah, that was my
exciting.
first entry into Dark Side. So
Was that
thank
your
you for
first entry? But you've done a lot more now.
yeah. But it was really funny because well, obviously it's an interview, so essentially it's all about you, of course, your own words and everything. But it was still fun to go to Forbidden Planet, a shop I've been going to since I was a kid, and point to the shelf where it was and go, I did it to
I
a
wrote
friend, not a complete stranger. Go, that's me, that's me.
this.
It's a surreal experience.
I went and bought a copy, and I was on. So there's a picture of me for anyone who doesn't know on the front, and their artist Rick does he paints all of the covers. So they're like old school poster type covers. And I went into a shop and I was with my friend and we went to buy it. And I think we'd been on a hike and we were somewhere, possibly in Surrey. Or no, we're in Farnham's. Farnham in Surrey? I'm not sure. We've gone on a lovely hike anyway, and then we popped into this shop and bought a copy. But the person didn't put two and two together because I suppose I was in hike
Oh,
clothes and no makeup on. So I bought my
it's
copy.
not, is
My
it? If you
friend, my
kind of want
friend
to show
bought her
off.
copy,
Yeah.
and we toddled out the shop. So they went
There was
nonetheless.
one occasion though where I did have to show off. It was really quite, again, sort of surreal. So I'm still not used to this, but Scream had come out and I'd done an article on Hammer's Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
Hmm.
And there was a little picture of Ralph Bates and Martine Basewick on the front. And I'd received my contributor's copy, but I wanted to keep that pristine. So I went into Smith's to buy one that I could read. And if it got a bit doggy, it didn't matter.
Hmm.
And as I picked it up, this guy next to me said, oh, it's a good one, this issue. It's really good. It's a really good article on Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde.
Oh, did you
Oh,
go? I
thank
wrote it.
you.
I
Thank
wrote
you. I did that. So at least I got to legitimately say that was me. And bless him, he said, oh, brilliant. And
He probably thought, yeah, right.
he seemed to take me at face value, I'm happy to say. And it's funny because you do these things and you see the finished result, but somehow hearing it from somebody
Hmm.
and someone who's appreciative, it just sort of made it seem that bit more real.
Yeah.
You suddenly realize that this is what it's all about, because one of the other reasons that I love to write these is I mean, when you get together with your friends, you love to just gush about the things that you love. So
Hmm.
to get to do it in written form that lots of people get to read, it's just one big fan gush, really, massive,
Yeah.
great big geek out. So to know, one person loved it, that's good enough for me.
I didn't know you wrote for Scream as well. So how many magazines do you write for?
So yeah, Scream and Dark Side, We Belong Dead, and also Infinity, which Alan also edits.
Hmm.
Alan Bryce, editor of Dark Side.
So that's more sci-fi, is that right?
It's a bit of everything. It's a curious magazine. I mean, the first thing I did for them, for that particular magazine, was Only Fools and Horses.
Oh, okay, which is not
So,
very sci-fi.
no, I've done Only Fools and Horses. I've done Inspector Morse. I've done Auf
Oh,
Wiedersehen,
okay.
Pet. It's the kind of magazine where you'll have
Oh,
in
so
one
it's
issue,
like they're like going with British classic TV, really.
anything goes. I think one issue had an article on Battlestar Galactica,
Hmm.
Thunderbirds, and Bullseye, the game show.
Oh, I remember that. 180. And you used to
That's the
win
one.
your bully, didn't you?
Your bendy bully.
Yes. Was it Jim Bowen? Jim Bowen
Jimbo,
presented.
that's the
Why
one,
do I
yeah.
remember? That was a very long time ago.
That is rather, isn't it? It's Sunday, it's always on the Sunday.
I
So
don't know. There was that, and
there's
there
this
was
association of it's
lots one.
bullseye and it's school the next day. So you sort
Oh,
of,
was it? I
yes.
mean, the thing is about when you only had four channels on the TV, everyone did watch the same things. Whereas now there's so much
Yeah.
that you don't really get to talk to everybody about everything. But it was
Mm.
always like the Saturday was always like Blind Date, Gladiators, like it was classic TV. Do you remember
Noel's
Man
House
Oh
Party, I
Man?
did like. Which one?
Man Oh Man. Can you remember that one? Where the men
Was that
used to
Chris
stand by the
Tarrant?
pool and they used to do that did it with their pecs and then get pushed in. That was a good
I
one.
do remember that, yeah.
I thought you'd
Blimey.
remember that one,
Obviously.
obviously. Yeah, I remember that being a good one.
And I
Mm.
think, funny enough, that's why I think people objected to Ghost Watch. Because in 1992, yeah, there would have been four channels. So, in
Mm.
a way, it was almost as though people had a really scary horror piece forced on them. So,
I wish that I think I might
it's
have been a little
Saturday.
bit young to have watched it.
You
So
would have been. I mean, I was
I
13, to put it that way.
yeah, but I don't know. I wish that I had. I mean, I'd love that now because they basically kind of tricked a nation accidentally.
Well, I believed in it, I must admit. I mean, really, by rights, I shouldn't have been watching it at 13, but my parents were out, so I was staying down the road at my nan's. And at that
Mm.
time, my older brother was living there.
Right.
So he kind of thought, well, it's horror. He likes his Hammer films. It'll be all right. And for a while, because I hadn't read the Radio Times, I hadn't seen the
Mm.
by Stephen Volt caption. I just saw as a kid familiar faces: Sarah Green, Craig Charles, Lister from Red Dwarf. So
Yeah.
as far as I was concerned, every time I'd see a little flash of a figure in the background, I thought I was seeing a ghost. And my little brain was going, they exist. It's all for real. Everything I believed in, it's all just upended now.
Were you
But
kind of
what
sad when you found out?
I was annoyed. And what gave it away was there was a guy who was he was a clairvoyant. He was like a neighbor,
Mm.
and I looked at him and went, "Hang on a minute, I know your face." And there was an actor
Ah,
called, I think, Derek Slee or Derek Smee, but he was in John Pertwee's first Doctor Who story, so that
right,
blew the
okay.
gaff totally. So
Mm.
yeah, in a way, it was kind of, but I didn't stop me
Yeah.
being scared of it because as the sightings, I don't want to say too much, so because I think you
Yeah.
should watch
No, I
it,
do.
but
I'm going to find it. I'm sure it's probably online now to watch
it's
somewhere.
one of those things that people always disagree about how many sightings of the ghost there are because they're
Mm.
so subliminal. And given it's 1992, they do it so old school that it doesn't date. Like you'll see curtains, and then as the camera tracks really, really quickly, you'll swear you saw a figure standing in front of the curtains. But
Mhm.
to make it seem like you weren't quite sure, they dressed the actor in the same colored clothes. So it's like I think I saw that, but I'm not too sure.
Right.
And when the camera swings back, obviously the actor's legged it, so there's nothing there. And it's simple tricks like that. So no elaborate video effects, which would have instantly made it look cheesy.
Welcome back to the Scream Princess podcast.
Hello there. Welcome back to part two of the Scream Princess podcast. I forgot to mention your amazing cauldron in the first half.
Oh, indeed, yes.
How is it? How is it doing the smoke? Is it like a smoke machine?
It's a little thing that here it is. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes.
And it's really bizarre. I read the instructions about
Right.
6 times because basically, so you drop this in the cauldron of water
Right.
and then you connect it to a USB port. And I
Right.
thought, so I've got
This seems like
this in water.
electrocution.
I stood there thinking, am I just, and that's why I reread it because I thought that can't be right. But there you go. It's
Does it
hasn't
run
killed
out
me.
or is it like forever?
I guess that I don't know really. So I've got it connected to one of those portable phone charger things.
Right.
So it is keeping it,
Hmm.
but you can plug it into the wall. But even though it says it's safe, something in my mind's going, I'll do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I bought the cats a special water bowl, which is like a fountain. And that you put like the bit that's attached to the electric and you put it in the water. And I'm like, I don't know.
Doesn't sound right, does it?
No, no. I mean, it's
Especially the amount
fine.
of
They
films
don't
I've
like it
seen.
anyway. I spent £20 on a cat bowl that they're not interested in. I was trying to get them to drink more water because he had an operation a couple of months ago and he needs to drink more water and
No.
not interested at all. So fail.
Perhaps you put it in a cardboard box.
Yeah, yeah. They don't like their toys. They like bags and boxes. They didn't want the
Exactly.
posh water. They didn't want the posh water bowl. But I have quite a bit of condensation in my bathroom. Like it's like an old Victorian build and it's the bathroom's like the coldest room. And I
Mm.
have to have like a little tray on the back wall because you get some drips. He likes to drink from that. So
Funny
no,
creatures.
no
Funny
posh
creatures.
fountain Evian, but he'll drink
It's
from the
awesome.
toilet drips. So in the break, I went and I did some digging. So actually, I have a copy of your The Dark Side. So that was
There it is.
the picture on the front, painted by the lovely Rick Melton, who
What was
has
the
been on it.
hilarious? What was the hilarious bit on the cover? The wording. Yeah, Bella meets the Thompson
The
twins.
Thompson. Did you write that? Or that was Alan, wasn't it?
That's nothing to do with
That
me.
was Alan. I thought that was Alan. I knew it would be Alan.
Yeah, yeah.
Alan and Rick have both been on here actually. I
Ah,
did Romford Horror Festival in, I don't know, earlier this year, and they did a hot sauce, or Alan did a hot sauce chili challenge, and Rick just came on and chatted about his art. But that's the insides of all of your
that
article.
was
And I
my
thought,
type. I'll lay claim to the article title at least. That was
yes,
me.
more by Rick.
Yeah.
But that's the dark side. So check out Simon in the Dark Side. I think most months now you do something for them, right?
Off and on. It's more Scream. I tend to be more a regular
More Scream
contributor.
regular.
Yeah.
And I also have sent to me by the lovely Ian. I've got issue 30 of We Belong Dead here. And
Ah.
inside on page 12 and 13, we've got Softly, Softly Catch Jack the Ripper, investigating the BBC documentary on Jack the Ripper.
Oh yeah.
So that's one of yours. And I've got, it's like, I'm like, this is your life.
It
Simon
is, isn't
Ballard,
it?
this is your life. Now your friends are going to start coming out with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
big
Bring on your rotting corpse or two.
yeah, yeah. We've looked at issue 40, and in here we have got the Dig the Narration Kids Hammer on Record. So that's about
Oh,
Hammer
and
Records.
here it is.
Oh, there it is.
There's the actual
What's
record.
actually on it? Because I actually saw one of those on Amazon Marketplace. I didn't buy it because I was like, oh, I don't know what it's going to be.
Well, basically, so this came out in 1974,
Right.
and it's actually quite interesting because at that point, Hammer as a company were floundering.
Mm,
Michael Carreras, son of James Carreras, was in charge, and he took over the company at a time when the British film industry as a whole was not in a good place. So he was finding it increasingly hard to find finance for films. American investment in British films had all but evaporated.
mm,
And he tried experiments like teaming up with the Shaw brothers to do Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, for example. But one thing he did, which was quite ahead of his time, was to be a kind of brand manager. So he thought,
mm,
we need to diversify. And he
mm,
had all these thoughts which didn't come to fruition, like Hammer novels and a Hammer theatre experience, all things that have come to pass now. But
mm.
one thing he did do was this. So basically, side one, it's a brand new Dracula story
Right.
narrated by Christopher Lee and introduced by a guy called Bill Mitchell, who had a really, really deep voice, which is
Mm.
absolutely perfect for that kind of thing, with all kind of ambient sound, spooky owls hooting and
Oh,
lightning
wow.
and so forth. And written by Don Horton, who'd written Hammer's Modern Dracula, so AD 72,
Mhm.
Satanic Rites, and he'd done Seven Golden
We
Vampires.
watched the Tank Rights the other day. I like to spot Pauline.
I absolutely, yeah, bless her. I love, if you look at her, when that initial Satanic Rites scene, she stood in the background and watch her. She does this wonderful, devilish little smile. I get the feeling they said, look, just stand in the background and look solemn. But she thought, I don't think so. So she does a really cheeky grin. Watch it next time and you'll see what I mean.
Okay.
And then side two, there's actual Hammer themes. Only four, but yeah, you got Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, Vampire Lovers. Yeah.
We watched
So
that one
really,
the other day. Oh no, did
Vampire,
we? Did we watch that or did we watch Lust for the Vampire? I'm not sure. We watched one of them
so of
the other
course,
day.
Lust is the one with Judy in, Vampire Lovers with
It wasn't
Maddie.
Judy. It was the other one then. Yeah, it didn't have Judy in. But speaking of Judy, I also got this one, which inside you've
Aha,
got a lovely interview with Judy Matheson, and that was
lovely
Simon's
lady.
interview. Yes. Did you go to see her to do this one? The
That one I
interview.
did over email because at that
Right.
point, I'd only just started to get to know her. It was
Right.
really nice because I was doing an article on Jimmy Sangster, who'd written Hammer's initial Gothics,
Mhm.
and I can't remember. I think, yeah, there was a story he told to Jonathan Rigby, and I said to Jonathan, "Can I quote that?" And he said,
Mm.
"Well, it was Jimmy's word, so yeah, help yourself." And Judy saw that, and she said, "Well, he directed me in Lust for a Vampire. Can I help in any way?" And I thought, "Well, isn't this wonderful? One of the
Oh,
actual stars of Hammer coming to me to offer help."
yeah.
So I said, "Well, thank you." Then I thought, could I interview you generally about everything you've done?
Mm.
She said, yeah, yeah. And then when we met in person,
Oh, so
was
you'd already
friends ever
interviewed
since.
her prior to meeting her.
So the interview I'd done prior to meeting her, yeah.
Oh, wow. So I actually had somebody on the podcast from Horrify Me, and he'd just done a shoot with some of the ladies from Hammer, and I don't know if he realized I actually knew Judy, because I was like, which one of them was the biggest diva? It was Judy, wasn't it? I was going, it was Judy, and I was thinking he must think I don't like her. I was like, he won't realize I'm actually friends with her. I don't think I added, like, I actually do know her and I've worked with her and, you know, spent a lot of time together.
He's thinking,
So
what a bitch.
I wonder what he thought of that. I don't know, but
I mean, you're not
yeah.
wrong, bless her.
No, no.
No, no, she's
She would
lovely.
be the first to admit it.
She's a perfectionist.
Yes. No, she's great. I haven't had her on the show actually. So I don't know if I could work out the Zoom thing. So I feel like it might have to be a time when I'm back in London, I might have to go and record it in person.
Worth doing, I'd say. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know her.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. So you are kind of a kind of classic horror expert. And I think when
Mm,
people think of classic horror, they think of Hammer, Amicus, and the Universal horrors. So that's
yeah.
what I think of, because again, I wasn't there when they were made, and I've started watching them, a long, long time after. And I still haven't seen all of the Hammer horrors. I'm still kind of, making my way through them all.
Mm.
So what's your favorite, all-time favorite?
It is a tricky one. I mean, the temptation is to say Taste the Blood of Dracula because it was the first one I saw,
Right.
uh,
Oh, you've crashed.
age 12 years old. But
Your picture's crashed. Have you crashed on your side? There
mm,
you are. You're back. You're just moving slowly. It might be a connection thing. Hmm. Do you want to just give it a refresh? I did one with Daryl Buxton, and my side crashed, and he thought it was his connection. So he didn't tell me, and I was just putting a funny face for a full half an
okay,
hour.
slowly
Oh,
anyway,
wow.
so that might not have been a glitch.
That just did like a super speedy, like speeded up thing. It's going to be.
Is that I just
Yeah,
refreshed? Does that
that's
work
better.
better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, you were
Brilliant.
crashed for a little while, and then you were kind of glitching, and then you did this like supersonic speed thing, which you'll see when you watch this back. So yeah, I did one with Daryl, and my side crashed, and he thought it was his connection, so he didn't say to me, "You've crashed."
Oh
So for a
no.
full first half of the podcast, I'm just doing like one pose.
I often used to dance in clubs like I was glitching. I was all kind of very robotic. So I'll
Yeah,
probably bring back memories.
yeah. What do you call this move? It's the glitch.
It's the glitch. There you go.
Glitch. You
I might
could
hit Canal
start
Street
that.
tomorrow and do the glitch.
You could start that. I mean,
Yeah,
they do all
literally,
kinds of things
literally
now. What
called
was it?
create a
What
movement.
was it
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like 10 years ago, there were kids, these were shuffling. That was the dance, the shuffle. It was
Wow.
like, not like do the shuffle. It was
Yeah.
like something weird with the legs, not like shuffling cards. It was like, it was a newfangled
Blimey.
shuffle.
Well, will be on me.
Don't know, kids these days. But yes, back to your favorite horror, because
Yeah, Taste the Blood of Dracula. I like it because that was the, let me think, fourth film that Christopher Lee was in. Da, da,
Mm,
da, da, da. And by that point, he was thoroughly, thoroughly fed up, and he wasn't going to be in it.
right.
So the idea was, okay, we'll cast Ralph Bates as a kind of new incarnation of Dracula. So the idea was that he tastes the blood of Dracula and kind of
Mm,
reincarnates as a newer, younger, more
mm,
vibrant version. But then Warner Brothers said, we're paying you to give us a Christopher Lee Dracula. So
yeah,
no Christopher Lee, no Dracula. So
right.
they had to kind of insert him very, very crudely into the film to a point where it almost doesn't make sense. But luckily, this is a film that actually has something to say. It's not just the usual run around Carpathian Mountains, nipping nubile ingenues. It actually, being set in Victorian London, has something to say about the hypocrisy of the society. The fact you've got these.
Seen this one.
Oh, okay. So I wonder if I should say too much. But
No, tell me, because I'll forget.
The wonderful visual metaphor for hypocrisy is these three upstanding Victorian gentlemen. They enter a soup kitchen off the street, ostensibly to do charity work, but then at the back of the soup kitchen is a brothel. So essentially, this
maybe
is what
I
they
have
do.
seen this one.
Okay, so you got Geoffrey Keane, Peter Sallis, and John Carson, and there's
Peter Sallis from Wallace and Gromit.
And Last of the Summer Wine.
Last Summer Wine.
And
what
Geoffrey
was his name
Keane.
in Last of the Summer Wine?
Clegg.
Clegg. That was it. Norman Clegg.
That's it.
Maddie, I would say if I ever got a pet bat, I'd call it Nora.
Nora the pet bat. Yeah.
Nora Batty.
Very appropriate.
Yeah. I mean, it's unlikely I'm ever going to get a pet bat, but you never know.
Well, you never know.
You never know. Stranger things had happened.
So, yeah, I think because it has that, saying something about society whilst being quite an atmospheric film, I think I'm tempted to say it's my favourite. And I love Maddie's story about she's on the back of Geoffrey Keane in this debauched bordello scene. And he was complaining about having this heavy weight on his back. And
she weighs nothing.
Maddie, nothing
even now she weighs nothing. So when she was like, I don't know, 19 or however old, she would have weighed nothing.
Always so thin, she's almost two-dimensional.
Yeah, I think people were just smaller then. Like, how? I don't know how they did it. I don't know how, when you see all these waifs.
Especially in those days when people were eating lard all the time.
I don't think people overate. I think, it's like people ate, but they didn't overeat. Whereas now it's like McDonald's 3 times a week and,
True.
Whatever.
Yeah, very true. Home deliveries made us gluttons.
Yes. I'm not really one for that much home delivery. I'll get the odd takeaway, maybe once a month we'll have a takeaway, but I do tend to cook from scratch.
Yeah, otherwise it does feel a bit of a slippery slope, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like cooking, so it's,
That's
and then I know what's in it. So
true, yeah.
It's part of my daily routine. Like after this, I'll prepare tonight's dinner, and then I'll go and do something else. And then when he comes in, I'll stick it in the oven.
Oh, you're making me feel ashamed now, Mr. Microwave Ping.
Well, he'd be microwave pinging if I wasn't home.
So I'm quite spoilt like that.
Oh, well, no, it's good. That's the whole point of living at home. Getting spoiled.
I know, it's ridiculous.
So what about your favourite Universal horror?
Well, I'm quite partial, I must admit, to Dracula's Daughter.
Dracula's Daughter. I'm obviously Creature, Black Lagoon and the Black Lagoon. Yeah. I love it.
Which is, I mean, I think those swamp scenes are just beautifully photographed. It's just, and the costume itself, it still looks amazing now.
It does.
Utterly amazing.
Yeah,
Dracula's Daughter, I think.
That one.
It's funny. I do like the Universal films, but it was when I was growing up in the early 90s. They still played horror films late at night. This was in the days when television used to close down.
Yes, so, and then you just used to get snow.
You get snow, then CFAX would kick in.
Yeah.
But 10 to 1, they would show horror films before the national anthem. And most of the time, it seemed to be Hammer films. So I was growing up with a steady stream of Hammer films. And then I read what's considered to be every horror fan's Bible, which was the Pictorial Guide to Horror Movies that Dennis Gifford wrote.
Okay.
And he was absolutely a Universal, or rather a kind of golden age 30s and 40s horror fan. And he loathed Hammer, absolutely loathed them. And this book came in 1974. So to him, Hammer were the great pretenders. And he famously said along the lines of Hammer films are fast, almost competed with Universal in terms of quantity, but in quality, they barely matched Monogram. And these are the people who made the really, really, really low budget films with Bela Lugosi at the sort of the dying days of his career. So it was that thing that when you're a preteen coming into your teens, you have these strict divisions. It was like you either like Blur or you liked Oasis.
Which one did you like?
Nintendo. I like Blur, and I faced up to the school bully because everyone said you got to say Oasis, otherwise it'll give you a Chinese burn.
Oh no!
No, I'm not going to say I like Oasis. So I said I like Blur, and I said Country House. And he looked really confused. I don't think he expected me to, to back up my favorite band, and he just sort of shrugged his shoulders and walked away. So he realized that he couldn't make good on his threat
So
because
I
I
think
didn't.
out of the two, back then I would have preferred Oasis, but now I prefer Blur. But although I did like kind of indie and Britpop music, I loved pop. I was Boyzone and the Spice Girls. Like I always admitted that my pop music taste is not cool.
That's all right. I brought
It,
Billie Piper's first single.
I still have the album in the loft. But then for you, full circle, because then she was in Doctor Who.
I know. So I said, see, I always knew she was good. I mean, the video, because you want to, there's a flying saucer in it. It was meant to be.
Yeah. Oh, look how the universe was already had plans
There
for
you
her.
are.
I really liked her in Secret Diary of a Call Girl. I thought that was a great show.
I didn't
And
see
like
her
for
in
her to
it.
do something that's you didn't expect from her because you think Billie Piper's
Mm.
like, the teen, you know.
True
So
to rain, certainly.
yeah, no, I liked that. And now she's in Wednesday.
Oh, is she? I didn't even know that.
She's in this part the new series, like series 2, she's in Wednesday, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm like, yeah, I
That's
can't
good
remember how
to
it
know.
ended now, but maybe in series 3. We'll see.
Mm.
We shall see. And what about Amicus then?
I do like Amicus, yeah.
So they were mostly like anthology style. Is that
Yeah,
right?
they did
I don't know
7
much about
anthology.
Amicus.
Well, I think all in total, they made something like 30 odd films, quite a
Mhm.
mixture. Some sci fi, very low budget sci fi.
Mhm.
One of them's got Charles Hawtrey in it.
I don't know who that is.
He was one who always went, "Oh, hello" in the Carry On films.
Okay,
So the kind of the least person you'd expect to be in a
right.
cheap sci-fi film.
Yeah,
But yeah, they made, although they only ever made 7 anthology films, it's kind of what they're most known for because, to be honest, they're the best.
right.
Just this idea that you can have 4 or 5 individual stories so you
Mm.
can sort of enjoy something. But if you have a segment that's not so good, there's this wonderful feeling of, well, a haunted piano, I don't know about that one, but maybe the next one will be all right.
Yeah.
And
And
those I
you
like.
don't have to endure it for so long if you're not enjoying
No,
it.
you should
The
be
next
over
thing
it a
will
bit.
happen. Yeah.
And they've got this
Yeah.
lovely kind of, they were set in the present day, the then present day,
Mm.
but there's a kind of almost timelessness about them. Like the first one, Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. I mean, appropriately, Milton Subotsky, who's the producer, wrote that, but I
Mm.
think he'd written the stories in 1948 because he loved Dead of Night from 45.
Right.
So this linking theme of this Dr. Terror reading tarot cards, or tarot, as Christopher Lee pronounces
Taro. I have
it,
noticed
inside.
some of his pronunciations are interesting.
I know. I think, where did taro come from? I've
Taro.
never
And
anyone
then
else
I've been
called
watching his series. There's a series of him talking about horror, and the way he says genre is strange. Genre. I
it
don't know. I
Jean.
don't know.
Yeah.
Genre. I don't know. I don't
Trouble
know.
is,
I'm
when
sure
someone's got
he's right and I'm
multilingual, you
wrong
kind of
because
think,
he's
is he right
Christopher
or
Lee and
not?
I'm not. So, however he said it, it's probably the right way. But
It makes you think that, yes.
yeah, yeah, it's Christopher Lee. So how can he be wrong? He can't be wrong.
No, of course not.
I'm going to start calling it Taro.
But the good thing is, everyone will know who you mean when you say that.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, it's true.
possibly. But yeah, just this idea of a Lincoln theme and a steam train. You watch it and you think, well, it was made in 65 or
Mm,
64, but it could easily be made in the 40s or the 50s because it has
yeah.
that sort of, even back then when it was present day, it still looks almost slightly period.
Yeah. Do you think it's a case of it's Christopher Lee, so no one dare tell him he's wrong? So they've just gone
Probably.
with it.
I think it is. Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
was enabled a bit too much there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because would you tell him? I wouldn't. He's scary.
Dare, no. I mean, I never met him, never went to, because when he was doing these kind of signings and things, I wasn't, I think because of a combination of either youth or, sad to
Mm,
say, the drinking, I didn't really do any of those. But I
mm.
think I would have been petrified
I think
because you're always thinking,
I would
don't say
love
the wrong
like to know
thing.
more about him though, because there's so much of his life that's kind of untalked about or he didn't talk about.
Yeah.
I think
And it
he's
seems to have a different size
fascinating.
to him. Like
Yeah.
sometimes people would say, to be honest, he came across to me as someone who was kind of shy.
Right.
And sometimes shy people like myself, you accidentally project quite a lot because you're almost overcompensating.
Mm.
So maybe the what seemed to be arrogance and a sort of a
Yeah.
certain austere distance was just him being slightly unsure of himself.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
and
saw his This Is Your Life, and he seemed very nice on that.
it's a good, yeah. It's very. I mean, he's, laughing. I mean, Vincent Price's story about celebrating their birthdays in the is it
Yes.
the Chamber of Horrors? I love
Because it
that.
was the two of them, and then Peter Cushing was he like the day before or day after? They were like, it's funny, like
Something
these three
like
who are kind of have very similar birthdays.
that. So I think they were more. I mean, it wasn't just this overly serious and pompous man. There are
No,
elements of that, but just more to him than that, really.
yeah. I mean, and then all the wartime stuff, and wasn't he
Mm.
like a spy or something? I don't
I
know.
think it's one of those things that with his stories, there's elements of truth in there, but
Right.
like any good storyteller, you embellish a little bit.
Yes.
And I
Yeah,
always say
but
when you hear
he
him in an
didn't ever
interview,
tell enough for people to really
no,
know anything. So it was kind of like, well, I'm intrigued, and now I'll never
yeah,
know.
like
So
say things to Peter Jackson, say when Peter Jackson's directed him what sounds to make when being stabbed in the neck, and he went, no, it sounds like this.
yeah,
I
and you're like,
know.
oh, why do you know that? That's what people sound like.
And that's what he would say. I know.
Yes. And again, who's going to argue with him?
Quite so. I certainly wouldn't. No.
No, no. So I know like they're doing like Hammer are sort of remaking things now. Is that what's happening? Because I know that Hammer have kind of had a comeback, and then there was like some remakes, or The Woman in Black was a remake, wasn't it? Of I don't know. It wasn't a Hammer film to start with, but they came back and remade The Woman in Black. But I've
Kind
heard
of. It's
are they
almost
doing
one of
some new
those.
remakes?
It's one of those kind of misnomers in a way that it's like when they said that Hammer remade Dracula and Frankenstein, etc. Strictly speaking, they're literary adaptations.
Mm,
So essentially,
yeah,
The Woman in Black all started as a book. So really, it's just a new version of the book.
right.
Um, and that was the old, that was under Simon Oakes, whereas this new
Yes.
version is the one appropriately named John Gore.
I know it's incredible, isn't it, that he's ended up with a
Um,
company like Hammer.
yeah, nominative determination at its heart.
Yes.
So they seem more committed to both restoring the old stuff and producing new stuff. I
Mm.
mean, Dr. Jekyll, funny enough, saying about the woman in
I
black,
haven't seen it.
it was
I
an
haven't seen
acquisition.
the new Dr. Jekyll, but I know it's a very different take than the previous.
Yeah, but which is very Hammer because every time they've done a Jekyll and Hyde, they've always done something different.
Mm.
So the first one, The Ugly Duckling, was a comedy with Bernard Bresslaw. Then they did The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, where this neurotic bearded Jekyll transforms into a very handsome, young, but very sadistic Hyde.
Mm.
Then, of course, we have Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde,
Yeah.
speaks for itself. Original posters there.
Oh, yes.
And now we have Dr. Jekyll, this transgender not biological, what am I saying? Pharmaceutical entrepreneur.
Right.
So
Yeah, I
again, it's
haven't
doing,
seen it, and I really want to watch it.
I really enjoyed it.
Mm.
It's more kind of, there was a period in the 60s when Hammer were making psychological thrillers.
Right.
And it feels more like that. It's a kind of a two-hander between her and this other guy who's
Okay.
basically meant to be sort of looking after her, making sure she takes her meds, eats the right type of
Mhm.
food, etc. And there's one hilarious moment where she eats crunchy nut cornflakes for the first time and gets really excited because she's never had them before.
Aw.
So it's kind of Susie Izard doing the thing, that wonderful stand-up routine where she would kind of go off on streams of random consciousness,
Mhm.
bringing that into this horror film in a way that actually then becomes, in this context, really quite creepy.
Yeah.
And the way the transformations are done, you're not always aware that it's happened.
So
So it
which
really,
films would you like to see them do new takes of, or new versions of?
interesting.
Which of the,
I'm kind of looking at my Hammer collection
yeah,
to
you're
see
like,
which.
when people ask me a question and I just go blank, I'm like, I don't know the answer.
I think Twins of Evil might work. Just the idea, the jeopardy of, which is the good twin, which is the bad twin.
Mm.
Funny enough, some films that they're kind of
Can you imagine
famous.
that with the Soska sisters? Because
Well,
I
there you
can't
go.
think of any
So
other
make it
twins.
relevant.
I can't think of any other twins in horror.
But possibly things, it's choosing the right materials. Like you kind of think maybe not do Frankenstein because
Mm.
it's perhaps been so overdone. Would it work? Another interpretation? Because the thing is, Hammer kind of owned that version of Frankenstein. That was
Mm.
very much their own. But at that point, there weren't too many other competing Frankenstein films. Whereas Of course, we got Del Toro's recent one now.
Yes.
And again, Dracula almost has become a figure of fun now.
Well,
I mean,
there's
I love
so
that
many
thing.
vampire movies
Yeah,
that aren't
vampire per se,
Dracula.
yeah. And I love the fact that they made him slightly ridiculous in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I thought that was a
I love Buffy. We've been watching that recently.
brilliant, yeah.
You know, when you can't find anything to watch, like I'll fall back on Buffy.
You have
So.
to choose the right one, though, because you don't want to choose one of the more traumatic ones, like when her mum dies.
No, I mean I like seasons 1 to 3 are my favorite,
Oh,
really.
really?
Once Cordelia and Angel leave, Dawn comes, I'm out. I watched them all at the time, but I tend to stop now.
Interesting.
So, yeah, seasons 1 to 3, and then I loved Angel. Like Cordelia was my favorite character, and I liked Angel. So yeah, I with them I followed. My loyalty went with them.
Did you go with the spin-off?
Angel, yes, yeah. I always thought they should have done a Giles spin-off. They should have brought him back to England and done a
Yeah,
Ripper spin-off. Because you know when he was Ripper when he was young, they should have like tapped into that. So I don't know. I feel like they could still do it.
there's scope there.
They
I
should
love
still
that.
do it.
In series one, he's so very much the sort of cliched, fusty British character.
Yeah.
But I love how they explored his character and brought all
Yeah.
that in. You suddenly realise, blimey, there's a little bit more to him than we originally
I don't know
thought.
whether if they brought it back, they should do kind of an actual prequel. So it's not Anthony Head that plays the character and it's somebody else
Yeah.
that plays like the younger version of him. And who would be good? I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know. Who would you cast?
Well,
I
Timothy
think.
Chalamet seems the obvious choice, but then sometimes obvious
Mm,
choices are obvious for the right reasons.
I feel
I don't
like
know, I'm
he's
thinking
too
because Anthony Head has
He's
the
too
cheap
Kardashian. I can't watch him.
version.
Like I like the Kardashians are one family that I wish could just fall into a black hole along with all of their like other relations.
It would
So
have to be a big hole. They're
Timothy's gonna have
protruding.
to go. Yeah, and then fill it in.
Yeah, lovely.
So yeah, that's how I feel about the Kardashians.
I'm with
You
you on
know,
that one.
reality TV people in general, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, not a fan. I don't
Hmm.
know. I mean, it's okay. Some of them off X Factor or something where they actually have a talent, but the ones who are just famous for famous and no talent, they
Yeah,
upset
no,
me.
big turn off for me too.
Yes. Making stupid people famous. And I've got friends that love watching reality TV and then they start chatting in our group chat about it. And I'm like, can you have another group chat where I'm not in it, please? Otherwise, I'm muting you all.
Well, that's a good thing about writing this book at the moment. It means I don't have to. I've good excuse not to watch proper TV.
Yeah. Good segue because we need to talk about the new book.
Oh, that was subtle, wasn't it?
That was good. No, I liked it. I liked it. I liked how you got there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Tell me.
So at the moment, I'm writing a book with David Wicks, not the character from EastEnders. I hasten to add. Everyone keeps saying, "Why are you writing about
Bianca's
him?"
dad.
Exactly. So David Wicks, for those who don't know, he is a film and TV producer going back to well, his first job it was in 1960. He was, amongst other things, he wrote the scripts for In Vision presenters in the days on ITV where they would actually you'd see them introduce the next program.
Mhm.
So David had to write those scripts, and one of the first ones was when someone had to announce this brand new soap opera called Coronation Street. So that was one of his first TV jobs. Then he graduated to making documentaries. He did one called The Struggle for Peace, all about peacetime during the Cold War. And then he went on to make some very famous TV programs like The Sweeney and The Professionals,
Mhm.
Softly, Softly Task Force, Public Eye. And he made the film version of Sweeney, the first Sweeney film. Made a David Essex motorcycle film called Silver Dream Racer.
That's
But
really random.
it was more enjoyable than I thought because I've never been a fan of David Essex
Mhm.
and I'm not a sports fan. And yet somehow this film about entering a bike for Silverstone, David managed to make really dramatic and
Okay.
quite interesting. But more pertinently, in 1988, David wrote and directed Jack the Ripper with Michael Caine.
Right.
So this was originally going to be a one-off videotape production for Thames Television,
Mhm.
but CBS got wind of this and said, if we give you $11 million, can we make it a co-production on film, but with a recognised star? So they had
Right.
to find the original star, Barry Foster, get Michael Caine in, and this turned into 2-part miniseries running to about 3 hours.
Right.
So off the back of that, which did tremendously well, he did Jekyll and Hyde with Michael Caine under layers of makeup, some very effective bladder effects there to
I haven't
turn him.
seen either of them, and I love Jack the Ripper stuff. Obviously, I lived in East London for a very long time, so I'll
I
have
think you'll
to
enjoy it.
find
A
that
lot
out
of
too.
people, they researched Jack the Ripper for about 4 years, trying to see if they could discover who it was, looking at the Home Office files, Scotland Yard, his researcher, Sue
I've
Jacob.
got like a copy of the case files and things.
Well, she went all the way to places like San Francisco to look at
Yeah.
their paper files, because obviously in those pre-internet days, you had to literally put the legwork in.
Yeah.
So although there's a lot of people who disagree with their conclusions, most sort of ripperologists will say that his film or miniseries is about one of the best interpretations that there is.
So who do
So
we
we
think it is? Who do you think it was?
Well, I don't want to say out loud. Well, it's not the one that David went with, I will admit.
Okay.
But then I never saw the file, so I just go by sort of instinct, which tells me that it was probably just some indiscriminate nobody, somebody like Aaron Kosminski, just some sexual inadequate, some psychopathic person who...
Was he the barber surgeon?
I think that was someone else with a similar name called Klazowski, if I'm pronouncing it right.
Okay.
Because
that's the one, when you do the tours, that's the one they kind of lean toward.
Yeah. I think he was the one that Inspector Aberline, the original leading investigator, I think that was his favourite. That was his his number one suspect.
It's annoying how we'll never know.
I know, but I suppose that keeps the intrigue up. I mean, I've got
true. You'd think by now they'd be able to do something, but...
Well, there's this guy who apparently he's got Catherine Eddowes' piece of torn apron that was left on the scene, or a little bit further from the scene, and he's apparently cloned this DNA, profiled it, and he seems to think by doing that it is Aaron Kosminski's.
Okay.
He actually managed to contact his living relatives and said, "Can I take
Can you imagine?
Basically say, can I take a DNA sample? I want to prove that your ancestor was this serial killer."
Yeah.
And apparently they went, "Oh, all right then."
Well, it'd be fascinating to know, wouldn't it? It would be fascinating to know.
Yeah. So anyway, he also did a version of Frankenstein before Kenneth Branagh's with Patrick Bergen. So yeah, I'm collaborating with him, talking about his career. It's good fun because
you
essentially
just get to be in a room with him, just talking and learning.
Well, he lives in Lincoln, so it's not easy to do that. But I go on WhatsApp, so we chat on WhatsApp. I stick my little recorder to the speaker and just say, "Okay, David. So today, should we talk about I don't know, the Sweeney?" And then I just sit back and let David talk for about 3 hours. I mean, you don't have to prompt him with anything. He just comes out with these wonderful anecdotes, and then I'll transcribe that, make notes. Then what I'm trying to do is to make it a bit of a mixture, so it's not just my bits, his bits. It'll be something like, I'll say, for example, there was one episode of the Sweeney, his first actually, called A Night Out, and there was a scene in this flat above a pub, and Jack Regan is reunited with a lost girlfriend, and they have a scene together, and they're doing things like she's getting the tights off the heater and he's getting a glass of scotch, and this whole thing was one long continuous take for 4 minutes. And I'm thinking, I wonder what the inspiration was. So I'm saying to David, "What was your inspiration? Was it Hitchcock? Was it watching Rope? What was the artistic decision?" And he just said, "To be honest, we thought, do it in one go, we'll get to the pub earlier." Brilliant.
Sometimes things are simpler than people are expecting.
This is it, yeah.
I love that. So that's very exciting. So when are you expecting to finish writing and publication?
Well, my official deadline is next May, but
so that's
I started
the writing
this,
and the
I didn't know. Sign the contracts, and I said to a wonderfully named publisher, Teddy Darling from New Haven, what sort of deadline? And she said, "I don't know. What do you think?" And of course, having never written a book before, I just had no idea, and I just plucked a year. That just seemed like the most plausible date to think. But
well, so it's good to have a deadline because it makes you work.
It focuses your mind. You know, you got something to aim for. But potentially, I could have it finished by the end of this year.
That would be very
At the moment, we're on.
I expect an invite to the launch party.
You certainly will. We are planning something. There might be a screening or two. So yeah, there definitely are plans, and certainly will be invited.
Amazing.
No, it's good fun, I must admit. I mean, I've been a fan of his ever since I was 10, because
Mm,
that's when Jekyll and Hyde was on telly. And I watched it. It scared me, but I still was mesmerized and watched it to
mm,
the end. And then every now and again, I'd encounter something else, like, oh, he did Jack the Ripper.
mm.
And then because my dad was a Sweeney fan, I'd start watching a Sweeney.
Yeah.
And there's that name again, David Wicks. So he's kept cropping up throughout my
Growing
life.
up.
So
It's
when his
funny
wife
how the
Heidi,
world works, isn't it? Like all
I
of that
know,
kind of led you to where you are now.
that's it. So when his wife Heidi rang and said, "Do you think a book on his life would sell?" I thought,
You're like,
well,
yes.
definitely, ticks so many boxes. And she said,
Yeah.
"Would you like to write it?" And that's a bit like saying to a kid, "You see that sweet shop there? You can have
Yeah.
everything. Do you want that
Yeah.
or not?" So essentially, unofficially, I've been researching this since 1990.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, we are out of time.
No,
This
that
has
was good
been
fun.
do you know, I didn't have loads and loads of questions prepared. I figured when I chatted to you, it would flow pretty easily, which I think it has.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes I'm like, I have to have, backup, but I figured we'd be good. But thank you so much for coming on the
Thanks for
show.
inviting me. It's been lovely.
And it's nice to have a little catch up as well. It's
Absolutely. It's
been
been
a while.
tremendous.
Well, enjoy the Festival of Fantastic Films, and I'm sure
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
bump into each other at something at some point.